Okay, hello and good morning to you. This is Cliff Graves from Trainwell Boxing. Okay, so today we are focusing on and appealing to baby boomers. Baby boomers, specifically people born in the 60s. So, you're over 50s. We have to appreciate the fact the clock never stops. From this time yesterday, 8 o'clock almost, yesterday, I am now 24 hours older. The clock never stops, ever. And I can tell you something for nothing. I can remember so vividly when I was 21 years of age. Honestly, I can. But the years, if you're a 21-year-old in your 20s listening into this, you're more than welcome. You're more than welcome. But the years are like a book, pages of a book. They just go page after page after page after page after page. The years. And it really doesn't. Before you know it, your number's up. So I'm 61 years of age, 62 in July. And we have to adopt a different training strategy. When I was 21, I was doing my kickboxing training and I was doing box splits, I was doing front splits, stretching exercises. I was doing all these jumping, spinning hook kicks and all of it. But I couldn't do that because what actually happens is that the morphology, that the shape, the anatomical dimensions of the hips change. And they change from when you were 9 years of age right the way through to your 89, which would be a great result to live that long, wouldn't it? To your 89 years of age, your hips are changing. So, we have to accept it. As baby boomers, we have to accept it. So, what are we trying to achieve as baby boomers? To keep our muscle power to a certain level. Now, I'm going to give you a true life example here. My mother-in-law is 86. You say, well, that's to be expected. Well, there you are. There's age. How the clock never stops. And she can get out of bed in the early hours of the morning if she wants to go and have a wee. You understand? But then getting back into bed for her is problematic. She disturbs her husband, who is 90, and he has to help her back into bed. And it's largely because of loss of muscle power. We all know that getting up out of the chair is probably more difficult than actually lowering yourself back into the chair. So it all comes down to muscle power. Where we're living at the moment, we're due to be out of here in the new year. I can't wait, but that's another video. That's another story. But I see this woman walking past on her Zimmer frame. I sometimes see her in a little motorized thing that what they called not scooters. You know what I mean? The 4-wheel jobs that you can drive on the pathway. And the local shops, which in fact is a local Lidl's, is just round the corner. It isn't far. But I suppose if you was like that and you didn't have that assistance, it would be classified as far. And I want to do everything I can to prevent myself becoming a statistic such as that. Everything in my power. I want to be able to, if I'm catching a bus, walk down to a local bus stop, get on and off the bus unaided. I want to be able to walk round to get a paper and some milk so I can come back and have a cup of tea whilst I read my paper when I get into my 70s and 80s. Hopefully that happens for me. And you should have the same mentality, baby boomers. But you have got to get involved in a weight training routine. Weight training, strength training will, as a matter of course, involve cardio. I don't like to see all this bouncing about, even for the youngsters, these bouncing about exercises, because I think they are putting so much stress and strain on connective tissue. And so thus, therefore, onto our joints. You think of the continual aerobic tight movements on your knees if you're in your mid-70s, jarring down continually on your knees all the time. I think swimming or aqua aerobics, however, is very good, but it is a format of weight bearing exercise, isn't it? The water is providing the resistance, but you can't can you? You can't really do a full squat in a swimming pool, can you? Unless you're right down at the shallow end and it's by your waist. But then how do you provide the resistance for your upper body? Because the water level is at your waist. Sure, you can do the squats. So do you go to the deeper parts and then swim down to the shallow? It's okay, but there is better. And the reason why weight training, strength training is the superior is because it's progressive. So if you started off with the pink little dumbbells and you're doing your curls, by the end of the year, you might not need to utilize those pink dumbbells, mightn't you? Because you've got, guess what? Stronger. Yes, oh yes. So I have given careful consideration to sets of exercises some of which you may find are completely off limits, pipe dream away from you. But please bear with me, because I am that 61-year-old and I have suffered injuries. So, you know, I've tried to develop a universal sessions, because there's 2 of them, that are going to help you. Of course, if you're really serious about it, then a personal trainer is the one that's got you there live, hands-on, can see what is contradictory to you. So this is meant as a guide to get your creative juices going. But please do take advice. Do all the necessary checkups and this and that if you need to. If you've been injured, get clearance from your GP if you've been ill or suffering from illness. Just be a little bit gentle and careful and intelligent and wise. So shall we get cracking then? Right. It's a 2-day routine, which consists of 2 different exercises. 2 different exercises. There's 5 exercises in each. We do start off with a warm-up activation time, which I think is highly important. So, ready? The warm-up activation. The first exercise we want you to do is a Mackenzie neck retraction. Now, these can be sourced and accessed via internet searches, okay? Put into the search engine Mackenzie neck retraction. What that does is that recalibrates your neck vertebrae, okay, and gets you ready for more intensive exercise. So 10 repetitions perhaps. The next one is, and I'm going to lead you to where you can find this. If you go on to YouTube and you put in to the search bar 9th limb, L-I-M-B, 9th limb.com, 9thlimb.com, pec minor stretch, and that would take you to an absolute wonderful stretch for the pec minor. The pec minor, either in search or its origin, it doesn't really matter. I get these mixed up, so we'll just say it attaches at one end on your coracoid process, which is part of your shoulder blade. And it's like a little bent thumb. And the pec minor fibers are like guitar strings, quite long and thin. And then they will attach the other end to your ribs, top ribs 3, 4, and 5. Now, quite often, if you do a lot of seating down during the day at a desk in front of a computer or whatever, your shoulders will round over. And what's happening is The pec minor is stretching. I apologize, is contracting so intensely, shortening, in other words, that it will cause problems, can cause problems in your shoulder joint. So we stretch it out. The next one is a series of isometrics, which I learned from Adam Meakins, Meakins, Adam Meakins, who is an extended scope physiotherapist. His speciality, in fact, is shoulder. If he doesn't know, then we've all got a bit of a problem, haven't we? So if you find out on the internet each of these, it will probably be easier. We will do a video of this in the new year. We're moving, so we can't. We've got stuff everywhere, so it's not possible to do it. Isometrics. One is called the back of hand scaption wall press. Did you get that? Back of hand scaption wall, W-A-W-L, wall press. Either side. This is predominantly to work the supraspinators, because in an unstable shoulder, that's what can happen. It can jolt up superiorly your entire shoulder joint, which will then undoubtedly cause painful impingement. The next one is the external rotation wall press. As I say, get onto YouTube and just search these. The external wall press, again, is a cracking one for activating the deep rotator cuff musculature. And then the final one we want you to do is a belly press. Belly, B-E-L-L, belly press. Both sides, left and right, for each of these, okay? I would do 3 sets of each of these for 7-second holds. So the total you'll be doing 3 sets left for back of hand, 3 sets right, got me? 3 sets left on the ER wall press, 3 sets right, got me? And then the belly press the same, 3 sets for left and right. Now this next one is a right cracker. When you're on 9thlimb.com via YouTube, put it into the search bar, 9thlimb.com, and put this in, the best serratus exercise. It would take you to a drill that is absolutely off limits brilliant. And the serratus anterior is such an important exercise for stability of the shoulder joint, the entire shoulder girdle, because from one end, the serratus anterior will go right underneath your shoulder blades, hugging the inside of your shoulder blades to one end of your shoulder blades, which would be the nearest to your spine. They call it the medial attachment. But just remember that it goes right underneath the entire bit of your shoulder blade, and it attaches up immediately. It attaches up to that end, that edge part of your shoulder blade, which is nearest, would be nearest to your spine. And then it goes, as I said, right away under the shoulder blade, hugging it tightly, sandwiched in between, and it attaches up to what is it? Well, it attaches up all literally to all of your ribs, and it is a major contributor for shoulder stability. So, okay, you can get out of the armchair, but you can't go and make yourself some beans on toast or something. You can't lift, if you're right-handed, your arm up overhead because somebody's told you you've got frozen shoulder, which doesn't really exist, to be honest. What you've got probably is a number of things: an unstable shoulder that's now you're suffering from shoulder impingement. The serratus anterior, when it's strong and activating as it should do, will keep your shoulder blades hugging against the rib cage. So in turn, that will keep your shoulder joints in alignment and stable. So when you do movements, you're not going to be restricted because of pain. And the last one we do is taken from yoga, is a cat camel stretch for the spine. And Professor Stuart McGill, I'm absolutely certain, has advised before. I'm sure I've read it from memory. By the way, he's one of the world's leading authorities on spinal issues. So again, what he says, take it as gospel. The cat camel should be done about half a dozen times. And just enough. What it's doing is it's activating the central nervous system within the spine area to kind of like get ready for more vigorous exercise. So do include that one. So Mackenzie neck retraction 10, pec minor stretch each side, 2 minutes each side. The isometrics, we've said 3 sets times 7 seconds of each. Serratus anterior, you'll see it if you get onto ninthlimb.com. 2 minutes. And your cat camel, a gentle, I'd say, half a dozen times. You're just trying to just oil up your spine. So don't go into full, flexion and extension and all that. Just gentle. And you're ready now. You're ready now to get cracking. You can do a little bit of cardio if you want, a little walk around, a little on the bike or something, just anything just to get you sweating a little bit, get your heart rate increased. It's quite a good idea. I do that following all those activation stretching drills. So if you're still with your pad and pen to hand and you're still with us, good. I say again, in the new year, we will you know, put this one out, right? So you can see for yourself exactly what we're doing and what we're up to. Day one consists of 5 exercises. The first exercise, we want you to do any posterior rear deltoid exercise of choice. Any one you like. I favour the dumbbell skiers, which you kind of like get into a bent over position with your back straight. You can have your back supported if you want. And then you let your shoulder blades protract when they come down. You keep them as in that protracted position, and then you just like an alpine skier jumper or whatever would do. The arms are back, aren't they? And behind the arms are back, behind the back, if you get me. Concentrate on flexing, contracting your posterior, your rear deltoids on this one. Vitally important, because otherwise you would just make it into a middle trap exercise if you just do bog standard rear delt flies or rows in the bog standard way. The reason why we have the rear delt exercise in there is to activate the posterior deltoid, very important for shoulder stability. Next, we are going to tackle weighted push-ups. So I want you to do 3 sets of 10 of the rear delt exercise. Next, we tackle weighted push-ups. And there's a way that we have adapted it to do it safely, which we will show you in the new year. Okay. And it's say hello, proper, safe, effective upper body training when you do this one. We would do a ramp up system of 10 reps, ramp up 8 reps, increase the load, ramp up 6 reps, and then go back to say the same initial weight at 10 and do 15, or you might have to go a little bit below 15 reps. So weighted push-ups, 10, 8, 6, 15. Now this one is another excellent one, but I'm suspecting 99.999% of you out there are going to have some assistance to do these, and that's easy. Set up resistance bands on your chin-up bar. Doesn't matter, you could have 2 of the black elastic resistance bands, which is the top of the tops, 2 of them if you wanted. A good place to start is 2 green resistance bands, the color green. Secure them on to the chin-up bar, bring them together. So now they're together, both of these, which is 2 is better than 1, right? You understand what I'm trying to say? It's more resistance for you. For example, and then you just sit in it. It is quite hard, I must admit, pushing down on the resistance band to get yourself sat into it. But you can work out a way, honestly. Once you get it, you reverse yourself back in, as it were. Get some help, somebody to pull the resistance bands down for you, and you sit in it like a swing. I want you to grab hold with straight arms, just a little bend in the elbow, but straight arms, because you're going to perform straight arm pull-ups, which try doing them. I have seen this guy was about 22. He was a wrestler in the gym, and I've seen him do straight arm pull-ups weighted. One tough hombre, you know what I mean? But we're the golden oldies, aren't we? We're the baby boomers, rather. So yeah, I suspect you need to do them assisted, but it's such a cracking exercise because it is all latissimus dorsi. Rather than the pull-ups or the chin-ups, it is all of it. You pull up, you keep your arms straight, and you pull down. Your arms are overhead, and you're attempting to pull down, right the way down, to your arms are kind of like in a vertical position out in front of you. Okay. And then you return back to the overhead position with arms straight, pulling the whole of your body weight up, hence having to have the assistance. Excellent for shoulder health. Again, this one similar what has been in the past advised by the brilliant ESP extended scope physiotherapist Mr. Adam Meekins, who is just short of brilliant. The guy is brilliant on shoulder issues. So I'd say if he don't know, if he don't know, we got a problem, Houston. But what he is actually saying is it's in fact the eccentric part of this exercise, and he advocates doing it single on a pull down. You can do these like on a lat pull down apparatus if you have that to hand. I'm presuming you're training at home now. It's the eccentric part of it which you don't just let go. When you try these, you'll be sat in your little swing thing. When you try these, I guarantee you, 100 times out of 100, you will know where it's at. You'd never go back to regular pull-ups because you know where it's at. Your latissimus dorsi are so important and critical to shoulder health. They're a powerful shoulder internal rotator, and people get put off by that because they say, oh, you're just, reinforcing the rounded shoulder syndrome. No, you're not. They are such a large muscle group covering such a large area of your back that they must be included. And I think that this is the best way. Better than a bent over rows, better than lat pull downs, the whole lot. The next exercise is a little cracker for nourishing your shoulder joint. It feels absolutely exquisite when you do it. Is the seated Arnold press. So you've got two dumbbells held in your hand, right? They're in a supine position. That means your palms are facing towards you. You can see your palms and they're being held with your arms completely bent at shoulder height. You then press up the dumbbells overhead, and as you're doing that, you're rotating your arms all the way around so that when you reach your highest point overhead, your palms are now pronated. Palms facing away from you. You're now coming back to the original starting position. As you come back to the original starting position, guess what? Your arms are turning inwards, rotating inwards, back to the shoulders, the hands, at shoulder height, arms bent, palms facing you, so you can see your palms in this supine position, and that equates 1 repetition. Why we say seated rather than standing is you can utilize the backrest of your bench as an anchor point, which will keep the exercise much more disciplined. There won't be any body English, and you don't want that, because we don't want to be putting undue strain on our lower backs, especially when we are loaded with resistance. So again, I would adopt 10, 8, 6, and then 15. And then finally for day 1, we do a good old-fashioned one, which everyone loves, and I actually do think you need, is barbell curls. But we like to use on this one the EZ bar curls. You know, the one that's got like the little twists in it, you know what I mean, don't you? EZ. And we do 10, 8, 6, 15 again on that one. And I think you got to look at where the bicep, one end of the bicep attaches. It attaches high up on your humerus. Now, I might have this wrong, but I believe the attachment is below something known as the lesser tuberosity on your humerus. And guess what? Yes, you got it. It adds to shoulder stability, especially if we can target the long head of the bicep. The long head of the bicep. But for a process known as muscle irradiation, we'll get the short head anyway. So don't get too shenzi about that one, folks. Don't get too shenzi, all right? Just know that it cosmetically looks quite good, and actually it will aid in glenohumeral stabilization. And that's it. You'd obviously do a cool down. So a cool down can be anything that you like, a walk, a jog if you want, but I don't know about jogging. Running, but then we're probably a bit too old really for intense running. But jogging, I'm not a fan of it. Something on the bike, skipping, can't do skipping, air skipping, a little bit of shadow boxing, but something just to start recalibrating your body to say, okay, time now for a drink of water, time now to hit the shower or run the hot bath. I'm done for today. Okay. So supposing you trained on Monday, the next time you train could be on a Thursday. What a cracking routine that is. So you've had Tuesday and Wednesday, well, the rest of the Monday off if you do your workouts early on in the day. The rest of the Monday, the Tuesday, the Wednesday, and then into the Thursday. And then you've got the rest of the Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then back into Monday. Works quite well. But anyway, so you'd leave it, okay, until a few days after In this example, we're saying Thursday. Now, Thursday is quite good, because now we're going to be doing some very, very unique lower body exercises. And it took us considerable time to actually come up with this, but we have. Much the same with the weighted push-ups version, our way, the Trainwell Boxing way. We'll show you. I promise you. And if you're really interested, we'll get it all put up on our website, bells and whistles and all the rest of it. So we're here for you. But day 2, we describe as staggered hip belt squats for the left or for the right. Change sides. Staggered hip belt squats left. So to get an idea of what we're talking about, I would put that into the YouTube search bar, and it would take you to a myriad of different examples where you can get your head around what we're talking about. But here we want to pump up specifically the quadriceps like you wouldn't believe. And this one does it. And these should also be hand-held. We learnt this one of Carl Dietz. He has come up with triphasic training, and there's lots that I agree with him on. There are aspects that I disagree with him on, but hey, that's the spice of life, isn't it? Handheld, because we don't want to be having to kind of like be conscious of keeping stability. The weighted push-ups, do them first on your knees. So the moment arm is a lot shorter, you understand? Same with these, hold on to something. Are we training stability muscles? No. We are wanting to train legs. So hold on to something strong and secure. In doing so, when you do that with both hands, your torso will flex slightly forward. It's like, think of this, and I have to use this example, so I'm not trying to be offensive, but if you've just been to the lavatory, the toilet, and you sat down and you're getting up, what happens to your torso? It has to flex forward, because you cannot have 90 degrees in your ankle joints, 90 degrees at your hip joints, and then 90 degrees at your knee, 90 degrees at your ankles, 90 degrees at your knees, and then 90 degrees at your hips. It won't happen. There's not one person I know that can get up out of a seat and have their torso totally upright. You have to flex forward. And when you flex forward, now you are bringing in all the musculature involved coming into the mix, which is your hip flexors, your hip extenders. You cannot but help it. If you want to do pure legs, then just do leg extensions, you know what I mean? But you cannot from a seated position. And this is the crux of all of this. We want to get that power so we can do it. Okay? Again, 10, 8, 6, 15. Exercise 3 is seated shrugs with 2 dumbbells. You sit down, your backs, your bench, you should have an adjustable inclined bench, will be almost upright. Your back is flush against it, and you just shrug up like you would do a shrug. When somebody asks you a question and you don't know the answer, you shrug your shoulders, shrug up and down, up and down, up and down. 10, 8, 6, 15. And then finally we come into, I think, 2 optional exercises, but again, I believe are highly important for baby boomers, is neck flexion and neck extension. I don't really care how you load these up, whether you just use a weight plate on the back of your head when you're doing the getting it all mixed up, but you know, whether you use just the weight plates to do these exercises or a harness or whatever, just be very, very disciplined with the neck, because there are delicate structures in there that can injure you very, very, very quickly and painfully. But generally, if you apply safety with loaded neck flexion and loaded neck extension, and provided you don't have any underlying illnesses, high blood pressure, any injuries to the neck where you've been forbidden from doing anything like that, just be sensible. But if you can, I do think you should include these. And that's it, folks. And that's it. Twice a week will keep you mobile, fit, and strong. We're not training to go in the ring, are we? At 70 years of age, are we? To fight in the ring, are we? We're not training to do that. What we're training for is to keep us strong so that we don't deteriorate. And it's very, very important to. Now, I said I was going to share something with you. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the link down below in the comments section of what I want to share. Okay, because I think this lecture has extended on, but I wanted to explain everything to you fully, clearly, and concisely. I'll put the link below for you so you can have a look, have a gander, see what you think. And if you're making any of those New Year's resolutions in 2026, we're going to be there for you every step of the way. Thanks for listening. I'll put the link below. This is Cliff Graves from Trainwell Boxing. Have a great day. Ciao.